Good afternoon. Welcome to the Stretford Paddock.
The.
The.
We're getting the.
I'm doing it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Start that. All right, okay.
Like the Boston Celtics.
The Stretford Paddock. Like it. Okay.
The
we'll go
Stretford
with
Paddock. Joined by Alex Baguli.
Yeah.
All right.
that. Yeah, not bad. A bit tired, but you know, we move. We move forward. It's a big weekend, this, isn't it?
Massive.
Like quite a big weekend.
Well tempted to get absolutely.
No.
What?
No, we can't do it.
Yeah, I
can't.
can.
No, we can't, because it works when it's like Tranmere and like Newcastle when we're going to win 6-0.
All right. What if we don't touch a drop until full time?
All right, that's different. That's very different. But we can't do it during the game because we're going to be nervous enough. And if things start going wrong...
But I'm not on camera after half time.
I know, but still. Neither am I. But at the same time, no. We're still going to be nervous. Still going to be nervous. So we need to like calm it down a bit. But anyway, Ollie's been talking about it because he's excited as well.
Ollie's excited, and he should be. If you're not excited for this, I mean, Ollie was a top player, and he was the player that you could definitely rely upon in big games and in different positions as well. But here's what he's had to say. He said, it was always the biggest game for teams to play United when I was there. That will always be the case against teams who've been successful. Everyone wants to be the champion and to beat them. That's why it's always harder to retain a title than to win your first one, isn't it? Like, there's so many teams that haven't retained titles.
Yeah, United kind of had that for about 15, 20 years where they were even when we weren't winning, we were the team that they wanted to beat. And I think that it's still there. So I think that it's still got that little bit of even teams now kind of up the game for Man United because it's Man United. Even when we're bad, it's like we want to beat you.
We're still United.
We're still United. But it was always the case. It was always the case for people up the team. And Liverpool have found that this season where people kind of go, if we get a point here, it's their cup final this year.
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah.
And it's been...
Taking points off the champions is always everyone's favourite game.
So they've been
Keep getting your questions and comments in.
Yep.
And we'll read some of those out. We've got PP Nav says, how am I buzzing and still nervous at the same time?
That's it. That's what big
Ross
games
says,
are for.
I said that last time and I didn't even get smashed. Was that the New Year's Eve one?
No. Which one was it? There was Boxing Day you didn't because you
Boxing Day because
I
thought my kidneys were going to fall out my arsehole.
Yeah. Just couldn't do that.
But for those who are on the Whoop band game,
wankers.
he is as well.
Yeah.
For those of you who are playing the Whoop band game, I've been green all week apart from Tuesday night.
Which
obviously
means to try and get it to as bad as you can by drinking copious amounts of rum. Okay. Deal.
If we beat the Scousers,
we have
comfortably, and it's a twatting.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to have to do it.
Okay, I'm getting the tram in. He's also said, we know we can beat anyone, anywhere, on any given day. Going into a game like this feeling, if we play to our best, we can win. We don't think consequences after that, just performance. It's a test of where we're at. We've not really set the world alight too many times.
Bang on that.
He's got it bang on. And I think that we are in the position, and I think Ollie's been in that position for a long time now. I think the team has, where if we're on our form, we can beat anyone. I think we have done that all the way through. We've beaten... Liverpool's the one we haven't beaten yet under Ollie.
Yeah, well, last season we had a phenomenal record. I think it was only second to Liverpool, who obviously were the champions, against the rest of the top six. This year, not so much. We've been pretty poor against the rest of the top six. But second half of the season, maybe we can put that right. Maybe we can start with... And I don't care. Here's the thing. I think United have fundamentally changed from being a massive counter-attacking team to being a front-foot team, possibly on the arrival of a fella called Bruno. I don't know if you've heard of him.
He's quite good.
And I think because of that, the way we play in the bigger games, I think there's a confidence about the way we're dealing with the smaller teams, which we didn't quite have. You know, when we struggled against the smaller teams, but we were good against top teams, it's kind of reversed it a little bit now. And I hope in season 3, we kind of get the balance right and we're able to just beat everybody. Yeah. But we're very good against those teams that we previously struggled against and ended up getting a 0-0 win for the opposition. Whereas now we need to maybe be a bit more cautious in the bigger games. Although, when Spurs aside, and I think when you look at the fact Spurs got tatered us and Villa tatered Liverpool the way they did, I'm putting a lot of that down to lack of pre-season.
Yep.
You can agree with me or disagree with me, I don't really care. I'm putting it down to a lot of pre-season. They're here for you.
All right, okay.
A lack of pre-season. Whereas I think that in the other games, we've not really attacked with gusto. So we've had a couple of nils in those. Nil against Arsenal, nil against Chelsea, nil against City. That's not good enough.
No.
But I think having Cavani available for those now, because I don't think he played in any of those games.
Didn't play in any of those games at all.
I think is a massive plus for us. And I think this is how United now hopefully start to ramp it up in his games.
We didn't even have Martial for 2 of them games. We didn't even have him for Arsenal or Chelsea. So for as much as we played Marcus there, and Marcus has done well in a lot of games this season, I still don't think him on his own works. And I think that when you have Cavani and Martial with him, I think he looks better. I think that has been a bit of a switch this season. I think the City game in the Cup, whilst it was disappointing, the one thing the positive I kind of took away from that game was that we went out and we're just as good as you, and we're just going to try and beat you.
Yeah.
We've not gone into any of them games this season and gone, we're going to sit back. Now, we play with Fred McTominay, which people can disagree and agree whether that's the right thing or not. But we went and go, our front four is going to score goals against you. It hasn't worked out, but Ollie's not gone, we're going to give them 80% of the ball and we'll create a few chances. We've gone and taken it to teams. Now, against Liverpool...
I'll be all for us going back to...
I think Ollie's... This is where I think that Ollie's kind of probably stuck in between the two. I think that you're right. I could see him going back and going, let's absorb a bit. But at the same time, he's going to look at the fact that we're never going to play Liverpool again with a weaker back four as they've got. Can we just go out and cause problems straight away? But like you said, maybe we cause those problems straight away by going, sit back, let you have the ball, and
you got to think,
be quick with it. And
Henderson and Fabinho's natural environment is 25 yards further up the pitch than they will be. So if any defenders are going to drift from holding a deep line, it's two central midfielders because they actually play together in central midfield. And when they look left and right, they know I'm normally about here on a pitch. Now, especially with the way Robertson and Trent just get after it and go forward, those two being the last line defence, and I'm sorry, Marcus Rashford 1v1 against Henderson is hilarious, right? In terms of a foot race, that's actually banter, right? So if you want to let Jordan Henderson drift up to the halfway line, and United have parked the bus that hard, that's where they're coming to. United just need to be efficient in when we win the ball back, McFred, right? When they get the ball, they find Pogba, and Pogba puts one in, or they immediately find Bruno and he puts one in. But no one can dwell on the ball. I don't want to see anybody stand and put their foot on the ball. The ball needs to go forward, it needs to go into the channels, and it's probably going to be Marcus Rashford chasing after it like a fucking puppy.
Definitely. Aaron's put a super chat in there. A quick word on Wazza seems appropriate. What a career, what a player.
Just been confirmed as Derby manager, I saw.
I feel old. Do you feel old for that?
It was when Ryan Giggs walked out in a suit as United manager.
That wasn't too bad for me because he was, a bit younger. So
I saw his debut.
Yeah. I saw Wayne Rooney's debut. That's where it's worrying.
That was 10 years after Giggs'.
Exactly. That's where it's scary. Is I remember Wayne Rooney's debut, and he's now manager of a football club. A bit mad. I'm sure there'll be someone here later on that knows a little bit about Wayne Rooney.
He's not coming?
He's not coming, so he's not.
No. Rene was leaving the house. I'll tell you about this all properly on the brew, but Rene was leaving the house. I literally texted him about 12:30. Said, still good for later? And he said, yes, mate. And I said, all right, sounds seen a bit. And then 20 minutes later, he goes, so I've just gone to leave the house. The missus has gone, where are you going? We've got a thing we've got to do. And he's like, shit, I better ring him. So he's back in next week. He'll be on Friday next week.
Fantastic.
What do you think about Pogba's interview? What? I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing that. Let me have a quick look. And I did see some quotes from it, and he looks... It was...
CTB says, I see your point, Steve, but Henderson's not just going to forget he's a centre-back and play midfield. No, I'm not saying that. But when you're used to playing one position all the time... Now, the person I can refer to that I know the most is Ronaldo, our Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He says, you play me on the right wing, it's the same as being on the left wing, but on the right side. He goes, the angles are all different to me and it just throws me. Yeah. And he goes, and I sometimes will drift around a little bit. He goes, you'll get 60% of the player. Now, of course, he's not going to forget his role is to be centre-half. But this is where they get caught napping because they're not, he hasn't played 400 games at centre-half. There are things that, it's like, you can tell him he's a goalkeeper, or you can play a goalkeeper in defence, and sometimes he might fucking go down to catch it or something like that. You don't know, do you? Because it's just his natural instincts.
Well, this is the whole thing. A lot of people jumped on Wan-Bissaka and where he's playing and stuff, and we've said it as well. We'd like to maybe see him when we play three at the back as the right side of the three, and people go, "That sounds like a good idea." But he's never played there before. No. He's not played right back that much. He's not played 400 games. He's probably played 200 games at right back. So he's just about.
Don't even think it'd be that many.
He's just about getting used to that. He's gone from a winger to right back. To move him again, he's going to be a bit lost. He's going to have to learn that role again. And for as good as a player he is, there's so many very, very good players. It takes time for them to learn a position. They can't just go, "You've got to play there now." They have to learn that position.
I spoke to players at United in the 18s and the 21s, and a lot of the time at that age group, they are moving around positions quite a lot. And I spoke to one of them and I was like, oh, how did you find it at centre half? I thought you played really well, actually. You played central mid, got moved to centre half for a game. And I was like, oh, how did you find it? And he was like, I was shitting myself the entire game. He's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I don't know what, he goes, it's all right when the coach puts his arm around you before the game and he's like, you're just playing centre half. It's dead easy. You've seen centre halves, right? But when it's
natural instincts.
Yeah.
So
you played centre mid for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then they're like, right, now you're playing centre forward.
Yeah.
Like, Henderson has played, a handful of games or so at centre half. He's had to deal with the Aston Juniors under 14s.
Yeah.
He's had to deal with who they had
Newcastle.
before that. Yeah, Newcastle. Right? None of them have had Marcus Rashford and Cavani. Like, Cavani would twist a good centre half up.
Yeah.
Let alone a centre mid playing centre half up.
Well, Marcus has twisted Van Dijk up in the past, and Van Dijk Trent partnership on that right hand side. These cause problems for them. Never mind Jordan Henderson, and you've mentioned it, I think already. I wouldn't be surprised to see Milner play on right back
no,
the
really
weekend, especially if Henderson plays there, because Milner's going to do a job rather than Trent, and people are going to go, oh, Trent's one of the best. Yeah, but he's not defensively minded, and if you've not got...
Did you see the performance the other night? Who was he playing?
Southampton, when he was just spamming crosses in.
And he was just getting tatered.
Yeah.
If that's how it goes down with United, United have got the firepower to turn them around and absolutely destroy them. But you've got to weather their storm, because their storm will come.
Yeah, of course.
And they create a lot of chances, and they really put a back four under pressure. And with how narrow that forward three goes as well, you've got so many bodies to deal with. Salah and Mane are absolutely top class. Firmino, not so much, but for Mane and Salah are lethal.
Yeah. Resonating Silence has put a super chat in. Thank you very much. Ollie should go for a win, and none of us should be frustrated if United lose. Courage is what everyone should be looking for. Now, I tend to disagree a little bit with that, because a point in this game keeps us... Obviously, we want to go for a win.
Yeah, I'm going to be disappointed if we lose, to be honest.
We're going to be disappointed if we lose, because it changes the whole narrative of it. If we get... I've done a few bits of maths and looked at where people can end. If we get a point this weekend, we're still going to be top. Liverpool get a point, they could be fourth or fifth. They're in the position where City, Tottenham, Leicester...
Make no mistake, the pressure is on them to beat us.
Yeah, they have to beat us.
The pressure is on us to not lose this.
Yeah, and I think that Ollie's...
United got 2 results we can take here.
Yeah, if we can do that. I think that one thing, we have to compete. We have to show that we are, a good team that can compete against these top teams if we're going to be wanting to win the league. But at the same time, if we get a point out of this, and if we are a little bit cagey, we're going to Anfield. Fergie was cagey for years. That I've seen clips of that John O'Shea goal. We were all going, we should win this game, but I'll take that, 0-0. We get the 1-0 in the last minute, everyone goes nuts, it's great. But at the same time, Fergie used to do this. You're going away to Anfield, it's going, and this wasn't a very good Liverpool team he was going to play. If you get a point at Anfield, you've done all right.
Yeah, no, you've done well.
Same thing this weekend. If we get a point this weekend, like I said, Liverpool will be worried because City can go above them, Leicester can go above them, Tottenham can go above them if we lose.
Did someone say Everton can go above them if they lose?
If they draw, Everton are 1 point behind them right now.
Wowzers.
So that whole narrative of their season, for as much as they'll only be within 3 or 4 points, 3 points at the top, it'll look mad at the table if that all happens. But at the same time, that fact that City, Everton and United are ahead of them, they'll be going, oh shit, it was...
And also why people shouldn't... people are saying United are in a false position. I'm loving that as a narrative, by the way. The table don't lie, brother.
Jason McAteer, man.
Yeah, there's a reason you use nickname Trigger.
I did see I seen a picture today with... I seen someone put... I think it was Ryan, used to do some Paddock stuff. Shared 3 articles, and the Sky Sports stuff. It was Souness, Fowler and McAteer.
Well, they had a debate on earlier
was it? Stephen Warnock.
No. I'm sure he's done all sorts to them today. Jesus. Well, I'd love to look at his contract. With Phil Babb and Brad Fiedel. Like, is there no one from United you can talk to? Literally, it is... We call it Scout Sports News, but Jesus Christ, it's like they're not even hiding who they want to win this.
No.
I saw an article yesterday which saying Klopp's 10 years ahead. So he's got 1 title after 10 years of being ahead of everyone. Fucking hell are you talking about? Like, how's he 10 years ahead?
I don't think so. I don't... For the fact that they've got 2 or 3 injuries and it's kind of throwing them all season. It's all in one position for them and it's unlucky. But United have had that. Fergie had that.
I remember when the only defender we played, I think it was Wolfsburg away, was Paddy Evra.
He had Everett and I think it was Fletcher and Carrick.
Carrick and Valencia. This is before Valencia had ever played right back.
Yeah.
This was like
that was a back four.
Valencia, yeah.
And we still won the league that year. You know, that's managing your squad and things like that. That's having players like Johnny Evans and John O'Shea and, you know, having John O'Shea around so that he can drop in and play when you've got nobody else. They're the players you need. And you know, at the minute, he's not really done that with Klopp. He's kind of put all his eggs in, got this basket, these are the players I've got, and he's panicking a little bit with who he's got available, which is no good. And you can't see 10 years ahead when you're in that kind of position. What else was Mr. Ole Gunnar Solskjær saying?
He said, I'm going to give everyone another day. Anthony's not out of it. The only ones certainly out of it are Brandon Williams and Phil Jones. A couple of others maybe doubts, but we're hoping, fingers crossed. I don't know what's up with Brandon. Phil Jones, does even anyone ask him, Ollie, what's wrong with Phil Jones? Or they just go, does it matter?
Does it really matter what's up with... Oh, Phil Jones, man. I mean, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, he's not going to play. Brandon, maybe we're looking at a loan and we don't want you to play right now kind of thing. That might be what that might be his issue. The other maybes, I think Matic is probably on his thing, but I don't think he's going to start Matic. I think it's going to be the Fred McTominay midfield. So I don't think he's 100% worried about Matic. And that's probably it. Martial...
I want to play him anyway. I'd have played a diamond.
I'm going for... I think it's going to be a diamond as well.
The other option you could play instead of a diamond still works at the same end. You've still got the three same players. So if it was a midfield of Fred, McTominay, Pogba, Bruno as your four, with Rashford, Cavani up front, and then whatever back four you want, well, then forward three, the Bruno, Cavani, Rashford, still works. Fred and McTominay, and then a back three, potentially. But I think I'm in two minds because the back three matches up very well against the way Liverpool play because you go man for man against their forward players. You have a defensive midfielder who sits in and sort of cuts off the supply to Firmino and allows him, stops him operating in between the lines. Your wing backs deal with the full backs, and happy days. Like that's the threats dealt with. So I really wouldn't be upset to see. No. But someone like Pogba's, you're missing out. Take a seat, son. And you're going to be reliant on that forward three dealing with what's going for the other end. But you would be very defensively solid against Liverpool.
And I think that Pogba's kind of got himself into the position where he can't be dropped after the Burnley game. I thought it was very, very, very good.
It's got to be diamond.
It's got to be a diamond. I think Pogba has to play. And even if it's not a diamond, even if it's that kind of 4-2, that kind of false 4-2-3-1 we've kind of played where Pogba's on the left and Marcus kind of drifts towards the right, I wouldn't be too disappointed to see that. But I still think it's going to be that same.
I want Marcus up against Trent.
Yeah, so do I. I think that's the target you're going for. And I think Cavani can, especially when that two can drift towards the right and fills that gap quite well because he did it so much for PSG when he had Zlatan
getting crosses in from.
Getting crosses in, I think that he definitely fits with all that.
4-4-2 diamond, or not upset if it's a back three, but as long as it's two up front.
Yeah,
I don't want to see us 4-5-1 in it or 5-4-1 in it.
No, I don't think he'll do that. I think he sees a little bit. He goes, you know, we can.
Put Rashford and Cavani up against two defensive midfielders,
or a lad. Even if he goes for the centre half, is it Reece Williams? I think he's the other centre half that he kind of plays now and again. He's not that experienced. He's not played too many games.
Some balls to put him in that. Although it'd probably be more effective than playing on centre mid there.
Yeah, I think Klopp's kind of torn between that at the minute. I think he's kind of going, do I play someone that I trust in terms of what they bring to the team, or do I trust that he actually knows how to play the position properly? And I think he's completely lost without that.
You're going to need a lot to deal with Cavani. Cavani twists up good defenders, so, you know. I would love to win it 1-0 due to an undeserved penalty in the 97th minute. Yep, especially if full time's been blown, we've had to come back out for the penalty as well, because the fucking fume would power me for about a fortnight.
It would be fantastic, wouldn't it? I mean, we've all talked about it. Klopp's definitely... They're all a bit rattled with what's been going on with United at the minute. And I think it worked a little bit. I think the Burnley game kind of showed that these comments about United kind of went, we're not giving them as many decisions and stuff like that. I think they did limit the decisions, and I think that they kind of swayed towards that, especially the Maguire goal. I think that kind of went, we could overturn this, but we're not going to. And I think that would...
It needs to be better refereed than some of our last recent games.
It does. It needs to be better refereed. And look, they mentioned it as well. I think that they've dropped it in there, but I don't think it's going to work. I don't think that you'd hope that the referees don't kind of fall for all this kind of stuff that he's dropping in, that they're getting penalties, we're not, kind of thing, because that would be horrendous. But
also, they are checked by VAR as well.
Yeah.
Like, literally, what everyone was wanted, like, listen, they're getting loads of penalties. So let's introduce a system where it's independently reviewed by a third party to see whether it's valid or not. And you're like one penalty behind us.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, sure.
So Ollie also mentioned, if you look at the last few seasons, it would be an upset, a shock. Our position is a product of the hard work we've done on the training ground and what the players are putting down every day. We deserve to be where we are at the moment. 67 games they've not lost for at Anfield.
It's a lot, that.
It's a hell of a lot of games. This is why I think people going, United have to go there and win. Well, we don't. It'd be brilliant to do so.
Yeah,
But
there's 67 other times people haven't done it.
But I'm taking a point, and I'll shake your hand right now for that, like all day long.
And it'll frustrate.
I don't want to lose.
No.
I don't want to go there and lose, because that'll feel like all of the fantastic work we've done the last 10 weeks or so has just been for fuck all.
Kind of crumbles away a little bit. I think that the one thing with that is that, especially last season, I think that the 2 results against them last season, I think that played very well against them last season. We got
at home. We should have won. I don't know how the fuck they managed to get was it an equaliser last minute?
Equaliser. Adam fucking Lallana scored. We played very well last season at home. And we weren't in the best of form at that time as well. And then when we got beat 2-0, we actually played a very good game against them. We had no Marcus, Bruno wasn't in there. The squad was dwindled at this point. I can't remember the team exactly, but I think Jesse Lingard. I think Jesse started. I don't even know whether Pereira might have started as well. We had no Pogba. We had no Rashford. Bruno wasn't in. It was a poor team we put out at Anfield. And I felt that if Marcus could have been fit for that game, I think we'd have won it. I think that was the kind of state we were in. We conceded. Martial missed some chances, but we conceded 2 very, very soft goals, I remember. We played okay against them last year at Anfield. And they've not faced Bruno yet.
Has Rooney retired? Is he officially retired? Is that why he's now the manager?
I've not seen that. He must have done.
Yeah, because a couple of people, all right, well, wow, fucking hell, what a career. Obviously, the back 9 of it was in Derby and MLS was a bit ropey. And even going back to Everton wasn't a success, was it?
It wasn't really, but...
what he did at United's...
What he did from 16 to 31, 32...
It's all right, wasn't it?
It was ridiculous. And I think I said to you in the pre-game, I seen a tweet the other day saying teenage Rooney wasn't as good as teenage Martial, and just went, you need to go back.
Just send me your address, mate, while I can slap you.
You need to go back and watch teenage Rooney, because I think that's the time people forget about Wayne Rooney. When he was 18, 19, before even Ronaldo really got into United, he was unbelievable. And I think that even what he was doing for England at that time, when England put the faith on an 18-year-old Wayne Rooney in an international tournament, and it nearly worked. And it would have worked if he didn't get injured. He was
undeniable. He was undeniable.
And he had everything at that point. He was scoring goals. He had he had work rate more than anyone had ever seen from a centre forward at that kind of level. He scored every kind of goal. The transition he had at United, where he went from a number 10, doing everything, drifting out to the left, to being, okay, Ronaldo's gone now, you're my number 9, go and score me 30 goals. And he did that as well. Like, that was, for him to do that. And then he got messed about United towards the end of his last, I think the Van Gaal seasons as well. He got put in midfield a couple of times.
Well, yeah, because Van Gaal likes everyone in a neat little box.
Yeah.
He's a trainer coach.
Yeah.
Loves a player that he can...
Yeah.
And you couldn't box Rooney into a position. Is he a 9? Well, yeah, but no. Is he a 10? No.
But if you'd have managed him better...
Is he a winger? Well, he'll play there, but no.
If you'd have used him better, and if you'd have said, look, you're going to be a forward that doesn't start every game for me and just comes on and gives me an option towards the end. And if Van Gaal had done that, maybe he'd have scored us 10 goals just by doing that, rather than him being forced to start games as a defensive midfielder, or as a holding midfielder trying to play what Scholes. No, don't do that.
No, he was... When we tried to get him to emulate Scholes, it was a proper wish version of what we got out of Scholes.
Yeah.
It was not the same.
No.
But that doesn't take away from what he was like at his peak. At his peak, he was unfortunate not to be called the best player in the world on a few occasions.
I think that he was.
Because he was very, 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 very
He could have been said that at like 1920.
Yeah.
And the other unfortunate thing for Wayne Rooney was Cristiano Ronaldo, which is a horrible thing to say, but when Rooney got to that level at 07, 08, 09, that lad,
Yeah,
Ronaldo kind of went.
I think Fergie went, we're going to play with the way that suits Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And you lot are all going to help him.
Yeah.
Whereas if we'd have only had a Rooney and maybe we'd have had an inferior right winger, we might have set it up around Rooney.
Yeah.
But, Rooney, humble enough to just go, cool.
Okay, cool.
Do whatever we need
I'll
to do.
work that and we'll win everything. We'll do it that way. And pretty much and then him dragging the team after Ronaldo left gets underrated as well. Those seasons when we weren't the best
the
team.
drop off you have from the best player on the planet. Ronaldo was worth nearly a goal a game starting, right? Ronaldo's in the 11. Yeah. Right, 1-0 United. Next.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Adichie's put a super chat in. We can have them at Anfield. They are rattled. A Bailly goal would be a banger. I like it.
You see Bailly immediately putting his arm around Diallo, walking him around the training ground.
I've seen the quotes today saying that Diallo's been in contact with Bailly for a bit as well. Have a bit of a chat.
Nice. There's no better big brother in United.
Not in the slightest.
If you're a young fella from the Ivory Coast and you come to a club and there's already an Eric Bailly there, that's a top big brother situation, that is, isn't it?
Top lad for it. If Rooney was Italian, he would have looked a bit different. I think he was. I don't think anything. I think him as English was that. I think people forget how much he got hyped up and said he was the best player. I think that.
Hey, I remember the fucking scumbag newspapers following him around at 16, eating bags of crisp on the way home from school and stuff like that. Imagine. Just think about how fucking mental that is.
Have you seen that documentary where he goes home after my debut, went home and played football on the street with my mates after scoring the goal against Arsenal, went and played football. He just loved football. He just loved football kind of thing. He was unbelievable, quality footballer.
He should have never got married. Should have been an absolute fucking wild man. Just absolutely off his tits, just fucking banging goals in and doing the other at night. Mint.
Absolutely.
Best English player of all time, says James Whitehead.
It's up there. I think the problem is
he'll rightly be in the conversation.
He will. I think the problem is that in the same way of comparing anyone, I think that your success in those times will always be held against you. So they're always going to bring up the older teams and the 66 squad when you kind of throw that in because of them actually winning stuff, which is what...
In 66, an Englishman actually was given a Ballon d'Or. I mean, there's only been a handful of Englishmen. I think Kevin Keegan and Michael Owen are the only other Englishmen to win a Ballon d'Or. But we had a Ballon d'Or winner in 66. He was a guy that won a European Cup, survived Munich, and won the World Cup, and was recognised by everybody else. Like Germany went, Beckenbauer, you're going to have to mark Bobby Charlton. And he was like, fucking hell, all right. But in England, coincidentally, had gone to Bobby, listen, don't want you to attack today. Can you deal with Beckenbauer? So the two just cancel each other out and like 10v10 played everywhere else.
Yeah, so it's, that's probably the only thing that holds it against it. But I think as talent and does everything and did that, and did it on the international stage as well, scoring that many goals.
Stanley Matthews won it, correct. Yeah, I think he was the first winner of it, actually.
Yeah. Well, also he was at Blackpool. So...
Duncan Edwards came second in it as a 19-year-old. Defender.
Scary.
How fucking good must he have been, by the way?
I don't want to know. It's one of those that it must have been ridiculous. Max has put a super chat in there. Diallo to come off the bench at Anfield. I don't think so.
I mean, that's how Tony Marshall got his start on it.
I think the way that Ollie's kind of phrased it today, Ollie had a quote where he's kind of said that, he'll get his debut this season for the first team.
Yeah, not this weekend.
I don't think that means that. If he'd have come out today and gone,
look how
he's
strong
impressed.
Our bench is, though.
If he'd have come out today and said he's really impressed me in training, there might be a spot for him tomorrow. Then I'd be like Tony Marshall, kind of. He's on the bench. If we're either winning,
but you know what Ollie's like? Say nothing. Here he is. No fans. No one to intimidate you. No pressure, kind of. I mean, there's obviously pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. What else we got?
There would be no Ronaldo without Wayne Rooney. I'm not sure that's the case.
No, I think from what people have said, just the work ethic of Ronaldo from the first day he walked into training was that he was going to get to that level. And I think that he would have done that if it had gone anywhere, maybe not Arsenal because they're a bit of shit.
No way is he bringing on an 18-year-old kid who's only been here a week for an Anfield debut. I wouldn't say that's definitely not happening, but I would say when you consider the depth that we've got in the squad, is he ahead of Greenwood yet? No. Like, if you're going to bring Greenwood off, if Marshall's on the bench, like, we can field a hell of a bench at the moment, which is really good. So this isn't like an injury ravaged. This isn't like how Marcus Rashford got his debut, where Rooney's out, Zlatan's out, Tony Marshall's just done his hamstring in a warm up. You're up, kid. Like, that's how those, like, 99% of debuts and introductions into the first team are because someone got broke. The only one I can think of that's not had that is Mason. He's been one of the most well-managed introductions into the team I've ever seen.
And even Martial, I mentioned there about the managing Wayne Rooney. Van Gaal decided he wasn't a number 9, so wasn't playing Rooney there. Van Persie gone or was on the way out or was just about to go.
Sulking at one point.
Sulking. We didn't have a number 9. So that's how Martial kind of ended up into having that debut.
Then Jose comes, brings the big fella in, and brings a bigger fella in afterwards.
Yeah, and just said, we don't like you there.
Polly 160 says, what's your room of choice at the minute? I assume you're talking to me. I would say you can't go wrong with Diplomatico or Salford. Although, actually, because I'd say this really fits the question, my room of choice at the minute is a Bacardi spiced, actually. Dark Bacardi spiced, yeah.
Nice. I'm still on the Salford at the minute. Salford is my choice.
Salford's belting. It's got a real butteriness to it. Diplomatico, though, if I'm buying a gift for someone of a rum, I'll get them a Diplomatico because that's a...
There you go.
A Bumbu's not bad neither.
What else?
I've got about 50 rums upstairs. So
question there, is Palestri back in Uruguay?
I know of.
No, I think he's just isolating his... he had coronavirus. That's the thing that's going around, isn't it? So we had coronavirus. So we had
that's a thing. Someone's heard of that, I reckon.
Someone's
Anyone heard of that?
He had that coronavirus.
Saw an article yesterday, which was from January last year, which is a study from the World Health Organization, which says there's currently no evidence of human-to-human passing on. What's the word for that? Human-to-human contamination with the novel corona. Remember when it was called the novel coronavirus, aka COVID-19? Interesting. So I'm sure it'll be all right. Phil Jones to do a John O'Shea and come and score the winner and celebrate while eating crayons. I mean, half of that's doable, I guess.
John O'Shea, a bit underrated as well. John O'Shea, one of those players that just...
400 or 500 games.
400 or 500 games, and was... I mentioned before about players around the squad that, again, this is why McTominay gets all this kind of shit, and you kind of go, why is he getting stick and all this kind of stuff. You need players who you can just rely on and can play, especially John O'Shea can play in multiple positions. That was what was fantastic about what Fergie's team did and why they could win back-to-back titles, why they could win doubles, why they could go on runs in all these different tournaments, is because when you had injuries, you could put John O'Shea at left back, you could put him at centre half, you could do that.
But there's been, from Ji-sung Park to Fletcher to John O'Shea to David May, people like that, they were always the sort of player that here's the thing, you need a handful of world-class players, a load of great players, and then you need some people that are going to be happy to sit on a bench and do a job. And invariably, they are academy graduates because they're not likely to kick off like a foreign import is.
Yeah, and I heard the lads talking last night about how Darren Fletcher came into the team. He was touted as a Beckham replacement, and I think this is where like Twitter would have gone mad because we'd have gone, Beckham's getting replaced by Darren Fletcher.
Do you know
He's
Fletcher
no good.
nearly made his debut at 16 and broke his leg, and it was delayed 2 years.
Yeah, because he was that thought highly of in the academy. So Fletcher was going to replace David Beckham. We've got rid of Roy Keane and brought in Michael Carrick. Ridiculous decision you've done there. And then at left back, you've got rid of Dennis Irwin and John O'Shea is going to do that. No, that's not the plan. He was always going to get very good players.
With the fanzines and in the crowd. You've given him the number fucking 16.
Yeah.
Michael the Crab Carrick. Are you fucking mad? But Fergie was going in a different direction.
Yes.
And we didn't see it at the time, yeah.
The whole point of the players he's got now is that McTominay and Fred, are they the world-class players? But are they becoming a base?
Twitter might have broke more than it did last week with Trump.
Are they the kind of base that means that we can get 4 players that don't have to do any defending whatsoever? And that's what we end up doing. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's how he's going down the line of he's thinking we've got to play 4-2-3-1 because I'm going to sign 4 players for those positions, or I'm going to sign another 2 who are going to be unbelievable, and we're not going to need them to do any defending. But who knows?
Reading are doing very well too.
He's the John O'Shea.
He's first team coach there. Yeah. Isn't Quinton Fortune also a first team coach there, or is he the manager there?
I'm not too sure.
I think Quinton's involved there.
At Reading.
Yeah.
Happiest United winner at Anfield. Let's end on that. What's your happiest winner at Anfield?
The one where Palace scored twice at 97.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Something they worked on in training, I found out at a later date as well, that they worked on clearing the box and having Palace to fucking battering ram through it, and it worked twice.
I think the John O'Shea one was probably one of the ones for me, but at the same time, I probably lean towards some of the Van Gaal ones. I think the Mata game, because we weren't that good. It sounds daft.
Yeah, but I watched that.
Yeah.
I was doing the fan zone thing for Sky. Now, not a lot of people get this. If you saw my reaction on there, you'd be like, Steve's not really fucking hyper about that. What went on? Now, they give you... Imagine how many cameras Sky have at a game. Yeah. You get one camera guy's feed. So when he went for a piss, or whatever he did, we went from having this view to it just slowly started climbing like this, and we're looking at the sky for a bit. There's no commentary. It's a weird silent room because you've just got you and your mic. No, we saw it, but because we only had one guy's camera, he flipped from the wide shot. He zoomed right in on one of the defenders for Liverpool. So we was like, well, because my immediate one was, I think I said, that's either the best goal we've ever seen or it's offside. And because I'm not seeing any United players, I think it was on Skirtle. I've just got a fucking close-up like that on Skirtle's face, and he's screensaver face. So I'm going, well, what the fuck's happened? I've got no commentary. I can't see any celebrations. And I'm just like...
It's not good, that.
Terrible. And I said to him, I'm never coming back for this.
No. But like I said, that was where I said the O'Shea ones, the Solskjær ones, they were unbelievable wins at Anfield. But at the same time, we were the better team then. So it was expected to win. And that was whereas the Anfield one, we weren't doing that well. We were kind of building our way back up. And that was just, for me, that was, wow, we are fucking...
I would love to sing the Forlan song for Cavani. He came from Uruguay. He made the Scousers cry. Cavani.
Whoa.
Yeah, baby. The Marshall debut one was a good one. Yeah, I nearly passed out.
But it wasn't Anfield, though.
No, but I did nearly pass out.
Yeah.
Love it. Right then, we're going to wrap it up. Cheers for tuning in. Obviously, we'll be back with more stuff for tomorrow. Transfer reviews coming back. I think there's a transfer show this evening.
Is there?
Well, the fucking hell them two been all day then. So I guess we'll find out. But transfer review is back outside Old Trafford. It was Baltic. Go check that one out. And obviously, we'll be back here Sunday for the big game.
Yep, at the Brew this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Brew back in like 2 hours or whatever.
2 hours. Me and Jay are going to do the preview for the game. So that'll be out tomorrow.
Shimon. Right. See you in a bit, lads.